Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to try to make some progress on the 928. So yes, the interior is completely trashed still. A while back I tried to change the steering wheel. The steering wheel is really shot. The original one, it's completely dried up. So I tried to change it for a Club Sport steering wheel, but which somehow that highlighted another issue with the car. So the car had a lot of play in the steering wheel, which is a common issue on those cars. So today I'm going to show you like how to fix that. Before you can get here, you need to remove the dashboard. It's a little bit painful, but the gist of it is that you have like 4 bolts, one here, one here, one here, and one here. Oops. You access them from the bottom, and then once you have them out, you can get the pod out of the way. And my pod is, and also it is cracked, but we'll get to it later. Now once you have that, the rest of the steering wheel is fairly straightforward to remove. So there is a joint on the shaft at the bottom. So you have like here, it's pressed with a bolt, so you can remove it. It actually goes into that channel. And then like a few screws, 1, 2, and one on the other side here. You remove those and you'll get you can get the steering column out. The steering column, so how it works, you have that shaft that I'm moving that goes through it. You can see it goes all the way through it, and it has like I would say a few main components that are used as bearings. The main one, if you go on the forums, everybody's going to tell you to replace this one. So you can see this is like often referred as the steering shaft bearing or steering shaft bushing. You see mine, it's actually in I mean it's definitely well used. Not horrible condition. You'll see what I'm talking about later. The part number for that part for 928 is 928 347 73902. However, I believe it's interchangeable between various Porsche model from that era. So you have this piece, and this piece is going to go like here basically. You have a circlip that holds it. We have like at the bottom the shaft. The pressure of the shaft is held with a spring, and the spring is just like in between those spacers. But what really is I think more interesting, a lot of the people are seeing the same issue. It's not just that bushing that you need to replace, and even though this would be like a $20 or $30 fix, and that's easily done by just removing the steering wheel, you pretty much need to remove, in a lot of cases, you're going to need to remove the entire shaft, the entire steering column, and rebuild the steering column. What happens that bearing, so that bearing is at the top of the steering column. You can see it's going to fit here between the column and the shaft like this. Okay, so pressure fit. The part number for that bearing is 928 347 79100. And look at the condition mine had, right? That's a very strange thing. So that metal is actually like very brittle, and when you start to like try getting it out, it just like breaks apart. I have like many small pieces that fell, but basically all the balls were like dangling around inside the steering column, and the balls of the ball bearing, they were just all out. So you need a new one inside. So if you see, so this is going to go like this. That bushing goes in between the two. You have a circlip that goes at the very end into that channel here. Okay, so that's for that side, and that side now will be pretty good. Also, since I had the steering column out, I also wanted to rebuild it completely, so I'm going to change the bushing that's at the bottom. So you see, this is my original one, and it's not horrible. I think it's good to replace it. This one I think was like $45. This one was like $30. So it's not cheap, but you can see the new one, and I greased it already. It came a little bit dry. The new one is much better looking condition than the old one, so I think that will help as well. And so that one is where the spring is going to put some pressure, and that one will go at the bottom here. You have basically an exit bearing here. Okay. Part number for that one is 928-347-24101. And with that, you'll have basically a steering column completely new. I'm going to go ahead and rebuild it, show you after, but that should be pretty good. I also had ordered this part number, 928-347-65902, and this is like the basically the gasket that goes in between the steering column and the firewall. I am not sure I'm going to replace it, to be honest. After seeing the part, I saw that mine is still in there and in a decent condition, but also it's going to be very painful, I think, to try to remove it. Not very easy access, so we'll see if I use that part or not. That part was only like $4, so I don't mind too much if it's wasted, I guess. The last comment on the bottom, it seemed like all of the top bearings were the same. However, the bottom bearing, you have a different configuration based on the year. My car is a 1984 928S, and that's basically single bearing that's on there. It seemed like other years had like two bearings working together, or at least a bearing in two pieces. Okay, good. I'll show you once it's because of the dimension of the shaft and the steering column itself. We need to put the shaft back on first, because you can see like so it's going to fit about like this on this end, and so you can see like the bolt attaching to the shaft to the steering rack is going to be like covered inside the steering rack, that black piece. So here is the old rubber compared to the new one. So I guess if you're going to do things, let's do them right. So I'm gonna install the new one. Okay, so trying to show you where the seal goes. So you see the hole here, and the seal goes like here, basically around the hole, and then the metal cover of the steering shaft that goes inside here. It's hard to see, but the new firewall seal is on. I've put there's a couple of washers there that are just sticking there with a little bit of grease. We have here the shaft with the bearing, the new bearing, lower bearing installed in the spring, and we're going to go from the top down. Where is it? Here we go. Just to make sure we don't lose it. Oops, hold on. So once you have the shaft back in the joint, you have that bolt and nut that go through that notch that we had that I showed you on the shaft earlier, and we're good to go. You can see the lower bearing at the end. It's held by the spring. I'm going to slide the steering column on top of the shaft. See the spring